for North Platte, as there's first pitch in for a strike following the swing and a miss from Chase Benz. Currently a 1-2 count now, as he smashes one high out to left field. Getting up underneath it, left fielder Jackson Peters, and there's your easy first out of this ball game. A good pitch from Easton Geisler to get it high into the air, and there is Jackson Peters again taking over for Tyler Townsend, who is not playing today, of course, after had that elbow injury yesterday with colliding with the fence. Still no real update on how he's doing, but so far looking like might not be seeing him for an extended period of time. So, of course, next man up mentality for North Platte. Beautiful pitch from Geisler as it's in the zone for strike number 2 against Talon Lewis. Griffin Novacek on deck with Gunnar DeMitt in the hole, as another one skied high up to the heavens is calling the Hounds off. Caden Johnson, and easy enough as is, gets there in plenty of time. And there's 2 quick down early on in this top of the first inning for the defense for Great Plains Health, with Griffin Novacek, another one of those consistent players that North Platte has been going up against for many of seasons now, whether it be on the mound or on the football field. As he'll get set into the batter's box versus Easton Geisler. As first pitch from Geisler's high above the letters for ball number 1. One and one the count out of Novacek, but that one going to hit the dirt in front of Dean McIntyre for the second ball of this at-bat. 2-1, 2 down here in this cloudy top of the first inning. Wind pushing a little bit at 10 miles per hour as Novacek rockets one down the first base side, as first base umpire takes a little bit of evasive action for strike number 2. 2-2 the count now with nobody on and 2 down for Kearney in their top half of the offensive inning. As another one that's lopped on the foul territory side along first base. Count still stays at 2-2. Guys, for these last couple of weeks, really starting to find good form, almost exactly like how Ty Robinson was pitching towards the end of last season, as that pitch will take a nasty bounce in the dirt in front of McIntyre and go all the way to the backstop for ball 3. 3-2 the count with 2 outs here in this top of the first inning. Again, after a pretty sluggish start to the season for Easton Geisler. Ever since that CWS tournament, has really turned a corner on his pitching and he's taking a nice step forward as, oh, that's going to bounce, though, off of Griffin Novacek, and with that, he'll wander on over to first base following the hit by pitch. And now here comes Gunnar DeMitt for Kearney. Cole Throckmorton on deck, Keaton Wemhoff in the hole. DeMitt, the first baseman, has Griffin Novacek, the runner at first base. As Geisler's first pitch is high up to DeMitt. Ball number 1. Novacek, not known for his speed. Still somebody you should at least keep tabs on, but McIntyre behind home plate does a fantastic job of making sure a lot of these guys keep on their toes, as Geisler's next pitch to DeMitt is upstairs for ball number 2. 2-0 the count now to Gunnar DeMitt. as there goes the runner. And now Geisler can't make the throw on over to second in time. Caught napping a little bit as Griffin Novacek will successfully steal second base and now gets into scoring position for Kearney. The 2-0 count to first baseman Gunnar DeMitt as Geisler fires. Another pitch that's upstairs for ball 3. 3 straight pitches from Easton Geisler around the head area in terms of location against Gunnar DeMitt after a pretty strong start to this inning. Couple glances at second. The 3-0 pitch fouled off towards the parking lot. And there's strike number 1 against DeMitt. Still a runner in scoring position for Misco Sports Kearney in this top of the first inning. Griffin Novacek, who got on with a hit by pitch on over at second. DeMitt staring down the barrel of a 3-1 count. Geisler trying to avoid a walk. Delivers his 3-1. Popped up, drifting on over towards Landon Greeno, who's making his way to the visiting dugout, and it falls a couple feet in front of him, foul. So what was a 3-0 count is now pushed full 3-2, so good battle in terms of bouncing back from Easton Geisler. As home plate umpire Marshall Robinson trying to get more baseballs. Three and two with 2 outs here in this top of the first inning for Misco Sports Kearney on the offensive side. Geisler ready to go once again, looking for the final out of this inning. Gets the sign from Dean McIntyre he likes. Now we'll shake off a few more after not finding one. Now we'll get the sign, and here comes the 3-2. Oh, just a bit low and outside for ball number 4, and on over to first goes Gunnar DeMitt to put 2 runners aboard for Misco Sports Kearney. Throckmorton, a name that has become a real thorn in the side for, anyone that's been a fan of what was the FMBO Nationals the last couple of years, and now Great Plains Health this year. One of the best catchers here in the state of Nebraska, known for just gunning down runners, trying to make extra base runs. As that pitch tightened aside, will bounce off of McIntyre's glove, but not far enough away from Dean to advance both runners. But it's a 1-0 count now. Following Throckmorton, Keaton Wemhoff, Tristan Engelhardt in the hole for Misco Sports Kearney as the 1-0 from Easton Geisler. Popped up into the heavens as Dean McIntyre is able to find it, gets under it, and gets the easy out for the end of this inning. 2 runners did get aboard, but Geisler had a pretty strong opening start to this ball game. And with that, we'll step aside. Come back, North Platte, bottom half of their offensive inning here on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, live stream at NorthPlantPost.com. It is currently a 0-0 ball game as we are here in the bottom of the first inning. A good start for one Easton Geisler on the mound versus Misco Sports Kearney. Again, our half-inning breaks are brought to you in part by Kevin McCann and the Fortifying Group. You can check out Kevin McCann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B, as well as our other locations and other sponsors for today's sporting event. Premier Toyota at Premier Toyota just south of I-80 in North Platte. They invite you to stop out, take a test drive here today. Premier Toyota, let's go places. Here's Caden Johnson leading off for North Platte in the bottom of the first inning. This season for Johnson from a hitting standpoint, .295 batting average with 7 doubles and 1 home run to his name. Facing off against Derek Nonhoff. Grounder on over to Bosshammer at short. Quick throw on over to first, and all it took was one pitch from Derek Nonhoff, and there's already the first out of this inning for Great Plains Health's offense. For Connor Stifler, makes his way up in the lineup now to number 2 in the batting order. Stifler, .215 batting average, 12 singles to go along with 2 doubles, 10 RBIs. Now facing off against Nonhoff, whose first pitch is above the lettering for ball number 1. Kearney runs a very intricate bullpen. You know, when you watch Derek Nonhoff, you get a lot of Jack Polk vibes from Mr. Nonhoff, somebody who doesn't really have any great power behind his pitches in terms of the speed, but has really good consistency when it comes to pounding the strike zone. As, speaking of which, Jack Polk just walked into the dugout, so good to see Mr. Polk here today as that next pitch from Nonhoff, Titans side for ball 2. So you're never going to be really wowed by Nonhoff and his ability to blow a ball right past you, but man, oh man, his control and, you know, ability to hit the strike zone, as we saw right there with that last pitch, something that's really for the last couple of years been something North Platte has just been unable to decipher, as the 2-2 to Stifler is around the knees, and honestly probably should have been third strike of this at bat, but now 3-2 the count with 1 out to Connor Stifler as Nonhoff delivers, popped up, drifting on over to first. Gunnar DeMitt gets under it in foul territory, makes the easy grab, and that's 2 up, 2 down for North Platte's offense here in this bottom of the first inning. And former Kearney member Landon Greeno comes up to bat. Has many fond memories, not only playing with Kearney, but also against Kearney now as a member of North Platte. A couple of big game-winning hits for Landon Greeno in his time here, and he'll turn one the opposite way to left field and foul it off for strike number 1. 0-1 the count now. 2 down in this bottom of the first inning of this league match. As there's a nice drive out to left field. Can he get down in time? It does, out of the reach of Tristan Engelhardt. And with that, Landon Greeno's going to make his way on over to second with a stand-up double with 2 outs. And now, here comes Easton Jones with an opportunity to drive the game's first run home for Great Plains Health. Post 163. Landon Greeno in scoring position at second against Misco Sports. And yet again, there he is, old reliable, coming up clutch when needed most, especially against his former team. Easton Jones, the best statistical hitter this season for North Platte. .333 average. Has a runner in scoring position, and so far, Jones has 20 RBIs this season with 9 doubles, a triple, and a home run. Leads the team in RBIs, so an opportunity to continue to increase that margin as another pitch from Nonhoff just outside. Clips the corner out for ball 2. 2-0 the count with 2 down. This bottom of the first inning, still a 0-0 ball game right now between these two as Jones swings and misses for strike number 1. 2-1 now the count to Easton Jones. as Nonhoff will take his glance at second base to Greeno twice and delivers. Off speed. Oh, that is often outside for ball 3, so count now will push to 3-1 against Easton Jones as he's now staring down the barrel of a potential walk. 3-1 pitch. That one smashed out to left field. Can he get down for a base hit? It does! Landon Greeno turns the corner. Great throw from Engelhardt, but there's no one there to cut it off. And with that, Easton Jones will now scamper his way to second. That's an RBI single for Easton Jones to drive not only a run home for North Platte, but move himself into scoring position at second base. Strong hit by Easton Jones. Cutoff man, Bosshammer, not really in the vicinity, and because of that, the ball just rolls into the infield, allowing Jones now to go on over to second. A little hopper to Jake Bosshammer with a quick throw to first, and that's how this inning does come to an end. Not before one run does come across for Great Plains Health. They take a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first when we come back here to Bill Wood Field on FM 98.1. AM 1410 and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Bill Wood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, a 1-0 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. For North Platte, no runs, no hits, no errors for Misco Sports Kearney in their top of the second inning. Half inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group, located on the one-ways, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. As well as our other sponsors for today's game. One, River's Edge Golf Club. Of course, it may not look like it right now, but it is the summertime, which means you should be getting your tee time to River's Edge. Go out, schedule one today, and go play some golf, whether it be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, doesn't matter. Find some time and go outside and go enjoy the sun. Keaton Wemhoff now up to bat for Misco Sports Kearney against Easton Geisler, as that first pitch from Wemhoff is up above his lettering for ball number 1. And a big swing and a miss is way in front of the next pitch. A beautiful fastball from Easton Geisler. As Wemhoff just too far in front. It's a 1-1 count with nobody on and nobody out in the top of the second inning. Another swing and a miss from Keaton Wemhoff for strike 2. Again, North Platte must win today's game if they want to play more games on Tuesday and Wednesday against Hastings and Grand Island. That one lofted out to left field, but there's Jackson Peters with plenty of distance and time to get there and grab it for the first out of this inning. So, of course, it's all for the Cornhusker League, which is the league that Great Plains Health sits in with Kearney, Grand Island, and Hastings. It's separate from the totality district that we'll be seeing them, of course, in for districts not coming this week, but next week. So if they want to continue to get some more favorable games in their Husker League, they got to beat Kearney today to then face Hastings in that makeup game that, of course, had to be canceled due to rain a couple of weeks ago tomorrow. And then if they win that game, then they'll be taking on Grand Island in Grand Island on Wednesday, all while still going to that Kearney tournament Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's quickly an 0-2 count to Tristan Engelhardt. Carter Lawrence on deck and Jake Bosshammer in the hole for Kearney. A beautiful off-speed pitch from Easton Geisler. This is out number 2 of this inning. Picking up where he left off against Kearney not too long ago. Just putting them up, putting them down. As here's Carter Lawrence up to bat for the first time today as that fastball gets a little bit away from Easton Geisler for ball number 1. 1-0 the count with 2 down. Geisler's next pitch. That time, much better place on a fastball for strike number 1. Pushes the count 1-1 with 2 outs. 1-0 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. Connor Stifler with a good pickup on the dribble. Throws the ball over the head of Landon Greeno for the first error today by North Platte on what would have been the inning-ending throw to first. But unfortunately for Stifler, just threw it a little too far upstairs out of the reach of Landon Greeno. And we know Greeno can do a great job of reaching really high for those balls that are out of place, but unfortunately couldn't get that one. And there's the first error for North Platte today. And that means the runner's now in scoring position for Jake Bosshammer with Carter Lawrence at second. And 2 down in this top of the second. First pitch from Geisler will pull McIntyre away from his catching position. Ball number 1, 1-0 the count now. As Geisler will get the sign in from catcher Dean McIntyre. Now deliver. At 1-0, quickly becoming 2-0 with it taking the steps upstairs. 2-0 with 2 outs. Runner in scoring position for Kearney's offense in this top of the second inning being Carter Lawrence at second base. Next pitch from Geisler. Same story as the last one. Too high up. There's ball number 3. Back to the top of the order after Bosshammer with Chase Benz and Talon Lewis for Misco Sports Kearney. As Geisler with his 3-0 pitch will get set, take a glance at second and deliver. And there's a story being for this entire pitch sequence against Jake Bosshammer. All pitches high and away. And now back to the top of the order with Chase Benz. Here comes Mr. Benz. Flew out to Jackson Peters in his first plate appearance today against Easton Geisler. As Easton trying to shake off that last batter where he just could not find a ball into the zone to save his life. And starting off this one on the same note in the dirt for ball number 1, so went the completely opposite direction of being not too high on that time, but way too low. It's 1-0. Next pitch, much better. Round the letters in there for strike number 1, but by the reaction of Coach Holm, wasn't expecting to get that call. But we'll take it. 1-1 the count now to Chase Benz. Talon Lewis on deck with Griffin Novacek in the hole for Kearney. As Geisler will take a long pause and get the sign he likes the most. And here comes the 1-1. Big swing and a miss by Benz. And now we can see Geisler getting back into some rhythm. 1-2 now the count with 2 down in this top of the second. He's staring down that barrel of a strikeout to end the inning. Can he do it with this next pitch? Waits for the sign, gets it from McIntyre. Geisler's 1-2. Fastball that'll be pulled away from Dean McIntyre for ball number 2. 2-2 the count. Runners at second and first base for Kearney. Carter Lawrence at second. Jake Bosshammer at first. With 2 down. As Easton Geisler will wait the sign once again. Here comes that 2-2. Off speed. Very tight inside, forcing Benz to take evasive action. So now the count pushes full 3-2 in a walk here with load the bases with 2 outs in the top of the second inning for Kearney. Geisler looking to avoid that and get back into the rhythm that he found so successful in the first inning. The 3-2 pitch. Hard hit. That's going to get into left field for a base hit. That most certainly will score a run as it bounces away from Jackson Peters. And now there's going to be some trouble. Well, there was going to be some trouble for the side of Kearney, and now it's even more trouble for North Platte, as not just 1 run, but 2 runs come across following some errors in the outfield and infield. What would have been just a limiting 1 run coming home. Peters overthrows Easton Jones at third base, and because of that, 2 runs come across. And a runner now sits at third, being Chase Bentz. Second error today for North Platte's defense, and the first pitch into the next batter for Talon Lewis there for strike number 1. But 2 good bounce-back pitches from Easton Geisler now put this count 0-2 to Talon Lewis. Griffin Novacek on deck. Gunnar DeMitt in the hole with still a runner in scoring position being Chase Bentz, but doesn't matter as this inning comes to an end. Strikeout for Easton Geisler, but 2 runs did come across, unfortunately, for Kearney offense. We now make our way to the bottom of the second. A 2-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney. We come back to Bill Wood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Bill Wood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and of course, video live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. A 2-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney. 2 runs on no hits, no errors, compared to North Platte's 1 run, 2 hits, 2 errors in this now bottom of the second inning on our Wicked Fast scoreboard to be downloaded. The Mike Phillips 66 app yet. Now you're missing out on so much savings with Wicked Fast. Thank you to our half-inning break sponsor, Kevin McGann and the Fortified Group, as well as Dr. Chris Kroll and his crew at Kroll Clinic, located in the Westfield Shopping Center, as well as McClook, where they specialize in sports injuries, helping you get back in the game faster. And the best part about it, there's no facility fees to boot on your rehabilitation journey. A 2-0 pitch into Ty Hanneborg from one Derek Nonhoff, but bounces back for one around the knees in for strike number 1. Following Ty Hanneborg, Easton Geisler with Jackson Peters in the hole, as that's a hard-hit ground ball out of the reach and glove of Keaton Wemhoff. And there's a single for Ty Hanneborg. 3rd hit today for North Platte off of Derek Nonhoff. And now Easton Geisler up to bat so far for Geisler this season from a hitting standpoint. .250 batting average now, 7 RBIs, 2 doubles to his name. We'll see a first pitch from Nonhoff in the zone for strike number 1. North Platte was going into the top of last half inning, leading 1-0 before a costly error in the outfield by Jackson Peters allowed 2 runs to come across And now it's a 2-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney as Ty Hanneborg looks to steal. There's a great throw, as always, from Cole Throckmorton. And just like that, down goes Ty Hanneborg. And as always, there is the great Cole Throckmorton making another fantastic play out from his catcher position to throw a runner out, making their way to second. And there's now one out here in this bottom of the second inning. An 0-2 pitch to Geisler, make that a strikeout for Easton Geisler, as there's a quick 2 outs already here in this bottom of the second inning for Jackson Peters. Checks in for the first time here today. Peters, .219 batting average this season, 3 doubles, 12 RBIs for the young outfielder. See a pitch from Derek Nonhoff right into the zone for strike number 1. 22 total pitches for Nonhoff today, 14 strikes to 8 balls. As his next delivery is swung on and missed by Peters. That one very far in the dirt. So now it's an 0-2 count to Peters. Again, taking over for Tyler Townsend, who's out with an elbow injury. As the 0-2 fouled off. Peters got just enough of the ball to knock it to the fence for still another 0-2 count. On deck, Tommy Haggart with Caden Johnson in the hole. Good little soft grounder over to Bosshammer at short. Powerful throw to first, and it's in time, and that's how this inning will come to an end. A quick 3 up, 3 down for the side of Misco Sports Kearney, and they'll now be on the offensive side. We come back in this top of the third here on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and the live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410, 2-1. The lead for Misco Sports Kearney here in this top now of the third inning. 2 runs, no hits, no errors for Kearney. 1 run, 3 hits, 2 errors. Great Plains Health post 163. 13-17 on the season for North Platte. Record-wise, 18-10 for Misco Sports Kearney. Again, if North Platte wants to play tomorrow in some more action against Hastings, they have to come away with the victory here today against Kearney. As next up, Griffin Novacek, who was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance against Easton Geisler, will be who Geisler sees to start this top of the third off, and he rockets one foul down the first base side. So is our half-inning breaks, brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. We have some pitchers already warming up in the bullpen, it looks like, for Misco Sports Kearney. As warming up, Cash Fosher will be the person. I know! I said it! My heavens, is another quick tap-off for the side of Griffin Novacek down the foul down the third base side for strike number 2. 1-2 the count now against Novacek, with Gunnar DeMint on deck and Cole Throckmorton in the hole. That next pitch from Novacek is outside for ball number 2. It's 2-2 the count now, with nobody on, nobody out to start this top of the third. As next pitch from Geisler, man, just a bit too high above the lettering for ball 3. 3-2 pitch now from Easton Geisler to Griffin Novacek. Oh, and that's going to, for the second time in a row, bounce off of Novacek. And with that, he'll take a stroll on over to first base after getting hit by a pitch. As Gunnar DeMitt now up to bat for Misco Sports Kearney. Nobody out. Novacek at first. He did steal successfully in his last plate appearance. As the first pitch from Easton Geisler. Just outside for ball number 1. As there goes Novacek again with the steal, and for the second time, Easton Geisler not throwing to second. As another successful steal for Griffin Novacek is just like what happened in the first time Novacek got aboard, happened here again. As now there's a runner in scoring position for Misco Sports Kearney once again with Novacek at second. There's a hard hit to Easton Jones, who'll now fake it and now trying to throw out the runner Novacek to second. And unfortunately, a little bit of too much thought in that play instead of just getting the easy out at first. Now Novacek's going to make his way on over to third with Easton Jones, unfortunately not making his way back to the bag. And with that, Novacek goes to third. DeMille's on over to first base, so he'll reach on the fielder's choice, but things starting to unravel a bit here for the Great Plains Health defense, as they've now committed a total of 4 errors in this ball game already. Cole Throckmorton now up to bat. Flew out to D. McIntyre in his first plate appearance. Will stare at a pitch that's tight inside to his knees for ball number 1. So 1-0 count. Runners at the corners for Kearney. With nobody out in the top of the third inning, is that fastball near the face of Throckmorton. Ball 2, 2-0 the count. Time's going to be called now as out comes the outfield umpire, or excuse me, the around second base umpire. We're going to have a conversation, well, a very brief conversation at that. As Cash Foster now done warming up in the bullpen for Kearney. So 2-0 the count now after that very, very brief conversation between both umpires. And a ball that's skied up on over to left field as Jackson Peters running on but can't get there in time. And there is the first strike of this at-bat against Cole Throckmorton. Again, Griffin Novacek in scoring position at third base. Gunnar DeMille on over at first for Kearney. With Keaton Wemhoff on deck, Tristan Engelhardt in the hole. Geisler at 52 total pitches, 28 strikes, 24 balls. As he'll get set back on the pitching mound and take a quick glance at first before he delivers. There goes a runner, but Throckmorton will foul it off for strike number 2, which means DeMille will have to walk on back to first base. Early on, not as a clean start to this game as yesterday was against Scotts Bluff. A lot of self-inflicted mistakes so far for this Great Plains Health defense. As Geisler's 2-2. That's a little bit, that's behind Throckmorton as he ducks a little for cover, and now it's 3-2 the count with nobody out still in this top of the third inning. Runners at the corners. Again, the scary part about this, nobody out. As that fastball is close to the inside for ball 4, and with that, on over to first goes Cole Throckmorton, and the bases are now loaded for Kearney's offense. For Keaton Wemhoff, again, flew out to Jackson Peters in his previous plate appearance, but with nobody out, nice little fly to the outfield will score at least one run. As home plate umpire Marshall Robinson getting some more baseballs handed to him after Dean McIntyre had a nice conversation with Easton Geisler. Has the bases loaded for Misco Sports Kearney. Novacek at third, DeMilt at first, and then Throckmorton at first. As Geisler's first pitch beautifully placed. Hopefully a good sign of how this at-bat will go for Easton Geisler. Still a 2-1 lead for Kearney on our wicked fast scoreboard in this top of the third. As the 0-1 from Geisler, this time on his off-speed, just cuts a little too sharply out of the zone for first ball of this at-bat. 1-1 the count. Tristan Engelhardt on deck. Carter Lawrence in the hole for Misco Sports Kearney, leading 2-1. Big swing and a miss by Wemhoff, as he's now behind in the count 1-2. Again, he flew out to Jackson Peters his last at-bat. Now with an opportunity to bring some runs home for Kearney, leading 2-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard. As Geisler will shake off a couple signs from McIntyre. Take a long stare, and time will be called as Keaton Wemhoff will step out of the batter's box and step back in, refocused. One and two the count as next pitch is in the dirt. Great save from Dean McIntyre. 2-2 the count. Nobody out. Bases loaded for Misco Sports Kearney. Reaching on a pop-up from Keaton Wemhoff. But that goes foul for another 2-2 count. 2-2, nobody out. But the bases loaded. Novacek at third, DeMilt at second, and Cole Throckmorton at first for Misco Sports Kearney, as they lead 2-1 early on our wicked fast scoreboard. As next pitch, smashed out to left field. Is it pulling foul? And it does pull foul, so we'll once again try the 2-2 pitch once more. Next 2-2 pitch, upstairs on a fastball for ball number 3. 3-2. The count to Wemhoff with the bases loaded. A walk here would guarantee a run coming across. The bases loaded. Geisler trying to avoid that play. There's a force out at any bag, though. As the 3-2, swing and a miss is Keaton Wemhoff whiffing on a ball way down low. There's out number 1, a huge out for North Platte's defense. For Tristan Engelhardt, he struck out looking in his last plate appearance, so this part of the order hasn't been successful up until this point for Kearney, so maybe it's a sign of potential good things to come for North Platte. They can find a way to get out of this inning with the bases loaded, and that first pitch from Geisler to Engelhardt way upstairs for ball number 1. 1-0 with 1 out as Geisler delivers. That fastball down low doesn't skirt far enough away from Dean McIntyre to move any of the runners on the base pads, but what it does do is move the count to 2-0 in favor of Englehart. Here on our Wicked Fast scoreboard, make that 3-0 as another fastball into the dirt for ball 3. And now Tristan Englehart staring down the barrel of a 4-pitch walk that would score a run if Geisler can't pound one in the zone right here. 3-0. Oh my, has that one it's found its way into the zone around the lettering for strike number 1. Some good framing from McIntyre to drop it back into the zone as time is going to be called for Tristan Englehart. 3-1 with 1 out. Bases still loaded for Misco Sports Kearney in this top of the 3rd inning. And there's ball 4 as it's behind Englehart. And that walk will score a run, and now it's a 3-0 lead now in favor of Misco Sports Kearney as time will be called and out. We'll have a conversation, pitching coach for North Platte, not Ricky Holm here today, but have a conversation with Easton Geisler following that walk, which will score a run. 3-1, 3 runs, no hits, no errors for Kearney. I think that's the real kicker here so far, as all 3 of the runs that have come across for Kearney have not been off of a single hit. 1 run, 3 hits, but 4 errors for North Platte's defense, and there's the real kicker in the stomach for them. And a lot of those errors have just been, I hate to say lackadaisical, but pretty self-inflicted mistakes that easily could have been remedied. Just a little more communication on the base pads. As now up to bat, here's Carter Lawrence. He reached on an error off of Connor Stifler in his last plate appearance. Stifler overthrowing Landon Greeno at first. That brought some runs across for Misco Sports Kearney. His first pitch from Geisler is upstairs, ball number 1. 1-0 the count. So from what I can recall from yesterday, the pitching lineup today after Easton Geisler, if he needs to be relieved, Caden Johnson. Geisler already at 69 pitches here in this top of the 3rd inning. 35 strikes, 34 balls. As that pitch finds its way into the zone for strike number 1. 1-1 the count. From Easton Geisler to Carter Lawrence. Shortstop Jake Bosshammer on deck. Chase Benson the hole for Kearney, leading 3-1 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. Still 1 out in this top of the 3rd. There comes a steal home with the bunt being laid down. Geisler going to throw the ball over to first. They get the easy out against Carter Lawrence, but that sacrifice bunt successfully will score another run for Misco Sports Kearney. So now the lead increases ever slightly, up 1, 4-1 now the lead for Kearney. This top of the 3rd inning. 2 outs now to the name of this Kearney offense as Geisler's first pitch to Jake Bosshammer is upstairs for ball number 1. Bosshammer walked in his previous plate appearance against Geisler. And there's a good bounce back pitch from the senior. Finds the strike zone around the knees. 1-1 the count with 2 down. So far 2 runs have come across this inning after the bases were loaded. So not the end of the world for North Platte. Still would not have liked to have seen any of those runs come across if you're head coach Ricky Holm. But so far to limit to just 1 after the 2 after the bases were loaded. Pretty good resilience is. Now it's a 1-2 count to Bosshammer as that last pitch beautifully placed by Easton Geisler. As he'll get set and deliver. In there, strike 3 is down goes Bosshammer looking. So 2 runs do come across, limiting the damage done. So now it's 4-1 the lead for Misco Sports Kearney when we come back here to Billwood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live streaming as always at NorthPlattePost.com. Well, back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Currently a now 4-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney over Great Plains Health Post 163. Again, winner. If North Platte, well, I can't say winner, but if North Platte wins this game, they'll have another game tomorrow at home against Hastings before they potentially will travel on the road to Grand Island on Wednesday if they win that. Of course, non-existent game at the moment, but it all is predicated on if they can come away with the victory today. And so far, going to have to claw themselves out of a hole, trailing 4-1 against Derek Nonhoff and this Misco Sports Kearney squad. 4 runs, no hits, no errors for Kearney's offense. 1 run, 3 hits, 4 errors for Great Plains Health, with Tommy Haggart up to bat, Caden Johnson on deck, and Connor Stifler in the hole. A 1-1 count to the right fielder Haggart. Half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortify Group, as well as Hands of Heartland. Hands of Heartland has offered support and services for those with developmental disabilities in Nebraska since 1998, and are bringing those services to the North Platte area as he'll foul one off to the netting for strike number 2, a 1-2 count to Tommy Haggart, but that pitch from Nonhoff nowhere even near close to the zone for ball number 2. 2-2 the count. The bottom of the third. Nobody on, nobody out. Still a 4-1 lead on our wicked fast scoreboard for Misco Sports Kearney as that fastball from Nonhoff pulled Throckmorton away from his position for ball 3, and now Haggart has got the count back to full with the 3-2 pitch. Popped up, going to right field. Can it drop? It will not, as Griffin Novacek will drift over with plenty of time and catch that fly ball, and there's the first out of this inning. Just with this wind, keeping it up into the elevated high, into the air. Novacek had just plenty of time to race on over in right field to where he needed to be and grabs the first out of this inning with Caden Johnson now up to bat against Nonhoff. Grounded out in his previous plate appearance to Jake Bosshammer. Now staring down an 0-1 count, which following that next pitch goes to 1-1 with 1 out. Following Johnson, Connor Stifler, then Landon Garino for North Platte. As that next one down in the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike to the to the center fielder, Caden Johnson. Connor Stifler racing over to grab that ball after a bounce to the backstop. 2-1, close to hitting Johnson, but they say into the zone, and he shakes his head, and Coach Holm looks off into the distance with a grumpy, not happy smile on his face. So now it's 2-2 the count to Johnson, but that fastball gets away from Nonhoff for ball 3. 3-2 the count. 3-2 with 1 out. Nonhoff trying to find the second out of this inning to go 2 up, 2 down early on. Popped up. That's drifting on over to foul territory with DeMilk trying to get to it. He dives and just a couple of feet short, and we'll stay at 3-2. First foul ball of this at-bat for Caden Johnson. Trying to get some momentum going for this North Platte offense after getting that 1 run in the bottom of the first. Hasn't really generated much since then. That one again popped off, drifting out on over to right field with Novacek getting there underneath it and grabbing the second out. There's 2 up, 2 down in this bottom of the third inning for Connor Stifler, who flew out to Gunnar DeMilt in his very first plate appearance. Now here in the bottom of the third trying to generate a 2-out hit, but he'll start off behind on the back foot following that foul ball into the parking lot. 0-1 the count. What we do know guaranteed is that North Platte will be playing in the Kearney tournament Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so you'll of course see those games right here on FM 98.1, as well as AM 1410 and live streaming at northplattepost.com. If you're just tuning in, North Platte taking on Kearney in today's matchup. If they win this game, they'll be playing against Hastings tomorrow. And then if they win that game, Grand Island on Wednesday in Grand Island. Of course, can't get to those games until you take down your old storied rival here in Kearney. 2-1 the count as Nonhoff fires into Connor Stifler. He'll take a big swing and a miss. Push the count to 2-2 with 2 outs. Greeno on deck, Easton Jones in the hole if we get here. The 2-2. Oh boy, that pitch takes a nasty bounce off of the dirt and bounces off of Marshall Robinson. Really looks like missed his protective helmet, and I think bounced off his hand. So now time will be called to give the home plate umpire some time to reset. Maybe get some water as well. Give him a second or two to refocus in. And a big shout out to our sponsors today, Justin Thompson, American Family Insurance. Of course, if you're in need for anything insurance, whether it be farm, crop, auto, home, or commercial, go on over to Justin Thompson Family Agency with American Family Insurance, and he'll give you the insurance you need whenever you need it. Of course, I've talked to him a lot, and he's answered a lot of my questions actually about insurance. So if you just need someone to actually also just give you some help on what you're looking for or what policy best fits you, it was the perfect place for you to go to. As Marshall Robinson, after getting some time, will put back on the umpire mask and get behind home plate and look to continue this game on. 3-2 the count to Connor Stifler as he'll reach and bounce one slowly over to Jake Bosshammer. One throw on over to first, and it in time gets there. And that's how this inning will come to an end. A quick 3 up, 3 down for North Platte's offense in the bottom of the third. We now make our way to the top of the fourth. When we come back, we'll have a new pitcher on the mound for North Platte. Jacoby Silos will be taking over when we come back here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. A 4-1 lead in favor of Misco Sports Kearney. 4 runs, no hits, no errors for Kearney. 1 run, 3 hits, 4 errors on the side of Great Plains Health. Post 163 in this top of the 4th. 2 up for them, Chase Bentz, Talon Lewis, and Griffin Novacek. But first, as always, our half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group on the one-ways. 621 South Dewey, Sweet Pea, helping North Platte and surrounding areas for over 50 years. As well as another round, correction, Rivers Edge Golf Club. And it may not look like it outside with the clouds, but it is golf season, and it's the perfect time for you to reach out and get your tee time set up before, you really run out of time, whether it be because of work or can't really go out and play anymore. So get your tee time signed up today, Rivers Edge, and go out and go play a couple rounds of golf. Probably know Pat Jacobson went out there and probably did a couple bit of golfing trips. I don't know if recently, but probably did. 0-1 the first pitch into Chase Bentz, who singled in his last plate appearance. Flew out to Jackson Peters in his first. Will take a big swing on a pitch from new pitcher Jacoby Silos, who now takes over. A 0-2 count as that one softly hit now to Ty Hannibal. Gets short. Good throw on over to first, and leaning there is Landon Greeno to get the first out. And there's a ground out from Chase Bentz, and a good start for Jacoby Silos. It's been a while since we've seen Silos on a pitching session right now, as of course been dealing with a little bit of an arm injury, shoulder if I was remembering correctly, and now getting the nod here against Kearney as his first pitch right in the zone for strike number 1, and that was tough. Of course, him being, you can't say out because he of course was playing in the field, but didn't really get as many regular pitching starts as we had seen early in the season when he was really doing a fantastic job as a not only starting pitcher, but bullpen relief when called upon by head coach Ricky Holm, as his next pitch into Lewis is in the dirt for ball number 1. As the next pitch from Silos couldn't find the mark that time. 2-1 now the count to Talon Lewis. Struck out looking in his last plate appearance, flew out in his first, and now will ground one over to Connor Stifler at second. Good easy throw to first, and that's 2 up, 2 down to start this top of the 4th inning for North Platte's defense. For Griffin Novacek, who in back-to-back at-bats has been hit by a pitch. Now Jacoby Silos trying to avoid making that a third time's the charm type of approach. Following Novacek, Gunnar DeMilton, and Cole Throckmorton. As Silas' first pitch to Novacek, while low, is in there for strike number 1 as Novacek takes a big swing and will miss severely. As the 0-1 pitch, grounder on over to Landon Greeno, takes a nasty bounce, but there's the expert man to make a good adjustment. He gets it, he steps on first. That's a 1-2-3 inning for Jacoby Silos, and that's how this top of a 4th comes to an end. We now go to the bottom of the 4th. Still a Misco Sports Kearney 4-1 lead when we come back. FM 98.1, AM 1410, live streaming at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Of course, live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. 4-1 lead, favor of Misco Sports Kearney. They've still yet to generate a hit here today. Again, leading 4-1, 4 runs, no hits, no errors, compared to North Platte's 1 run, 3 hits, 4 errors. Landon Greeno doubled in his first plate appearance, just out of the reach of Tristan Engelhardt in left field now, up to bat against Derek Nonhoff, as Nonhoff's first pitch is below the knees to Greeno for ball number 1. Then you get into our sponsors for today's game. Our half-inning break sponsor, Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. You can check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey. Sweet Pea, as well as Premier Toyota. Go check out their new and pre-owned vehicles today to find the perfect one for you and take them out for a test drive. Premier Toyota, let's go places. Next pitch from Nonhoff is in the dirt for ball 2. 2-1 now the count for Nonhoff against Landon Greeno. Easton Jones on deck with Dean McIntyre in the hole, but there's a good bounce back pitch from Nonhoff as he'll sneak one in for strike number 2. So now it's 2-2 the count, and Greeno turns on one foul into the pavilion. So we'll stay at 2-2 as Greeno trying to find his second hit of today's game and put a runner on the base pad for North Platte's offense. As he'll swing, though, and miss on a fastball that goes right by him for first down of this inning for Derek Nonhoff, who has been pretty locked in after giving up that initial run in the bottom of the first inning. Been pretty good after that and has been shutting out North Platte on terms of the scoreboard since then, as his first pitch into Easton Jones in the dirt and smothered by Throckmorton for ball number 1. Jones singled into left field in his first plate appearance, scoring Landon Greeno. And now we'll see a pitch at the knees and in for strike number 1. 1-1 now the count, as Nonhoff gets the sign from Throckmorton and winds up. A pitch that's fouled and drifting towards, and does drift towards the parking lot for the second strike of this at-bat. 1-2 now to Easton Jones, trying to collect his 13th single this season. Will, stare down one that a late call finds its way into the zone for strike number 3, and that's the second out of this inning. Jones was stepping back, expecting that to be a ball, but home plate umpire calls it a strike, and that's 2 up and 2 down for North Platte's offense here in this bottom of the 4th inning for Dean McIntyre, who grounded out to Jake Bosshammer in his first plate appearance. We'll see first pitch to him from Nonhoff, low and around the knees, ball 1. And see the exact same pitch in pretty much the exact same area this time in for strike number 1. It's 1-1 the count to McIntyre with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. Check swing around the numbers. And there's ball number 2 to Dean McIntyre. 2-1 with 2 down. The bottom of the 4th inning as Nonhoff winds up and delivers. Popped up after drifting out to center field, high into the air. Chase Spence getting up underneath it in center and makes the easy grab, and that's 3 up, 3 down for North Platte's offense here in this top of the 5th inning. We'll travel to the now top of the 5th. Excuse me, that was correction. That was bottom of the 4th. We'll now travel to the top of the 5th. 4-1 the lead for Misco Sports Kearney when we come back to Billwood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, top of the 5th inning. Jacoby Silos back on the mound for North Platte after a quick 1-2-3, top of the 4th inning for him in relief. He'll be facing off against Gunnar DeMilt, who reached on a fielder's choice in his previous plate appearance for Misco Sports Kearney's offense. Our half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortified Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortified Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. As well as our other sports sponsors for today's game, Dr. Chris Kroll and his crew at Kroll Clinic. A great grab from Ty Hannibor on a line drive out, and there's first down of this inning. Good grab by Hannibor, and down goes DeMilt to lead off this inning. Again, thank you to Dr. Chris Kroll and his crew for sponsoring today's sporting event. Check out Dr. Chris Kroll and his crew, because whether you're on the field, court, or diamond, injuries can happen. And if they do, go on over to Dr. Chris Kroll. He'll make sure that you get back in the game faster, but more importantly, the best part about it, there's no facility fees if you need to use their facilities to get better. As Cole Throckmorton will foul off, first pitch he sees against Jacoby Silos. Throckmorton walked in his previous plate appearance, flew out in his first to Dean McIntyre. Rockets won another foul ball, this time to the other side along the left field line. And quickly an 0-2 count as Cole Throckmorton trying to hone in on Jacoby Silos. 4-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney in this top of the 5th. As he'll pop one up, Greeno going to get underneath it, doesn't have to move that far, and easily will grab it for the second out of this inning. A great start in the relief effort here for Jacoby Silos, as Keaton Wemhoff, who struck out swinging in his previous appearance, now will stroll up to the plate. So North Platte still in this game, trailing 4-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard, as Colt Cholm throwing his hands up in disbelief after that non-call, as disagrees with Marshall Robinson, the plate umpire's identification of that pitch. Is one is rocketed, then past the glove of Easton Jones at third, and there is officially the first hit today for Misco Sports Kearney, as Keaton Wemhoff scampers to first following the hit. And now here comes Tristan Engelhardt, who walked in his last appearance. Struck out looking in his first against Easton Geisler, and now faces Jacoby Silos for the first time today. Runner at first base, as that's fouled off by Engelhardt for strike number 1. 0-1 the count to Engelhardt. Carter to Lawrence on deck. Jake Bosshammer in the hole, as Silos will get the sign from McIntyre and wind up. Another ball that's going to be fouled off by Engelhardt. Make it 0-2 with 2 down. Can Jacoby Silos find that final pitch to get out of this inning with that same good proficiency we saw in the first inning of his action, the top of the 4th? Still has Keaton Wemhoff at first base for Kearney. Silos' 0-2 pitch. It's upstairs around the face for ball 1. And still within touching distance, this lead for Misco Sports Kearney, 4-1 favor of them. North Platte trying to slowly but steadily work their way back in, as Silos' next pitch is popped up to left field. As, give me correction, center is Caden Johnson, easily scampers underneath it, and that's how this inning comes to an end. Finally, can North Platte get something going on the offensive side after being shut out after getting 1 run across in the bottom of the first? You'll have to find out when we come back here to Billwood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. North Platte currently trailing Misco Sports Kearney 4-1, 4 runs, 1 hit, no errors on the side of Kearney. 1 run, 3 hits, 4 errors for Great Plains Health. Post 163 as Derek Nonhoff still on the mound for Kearney. Throws his first pitch into a strike to Ty Hanneborg. Hanneborg singled in his first plate appearance against Nonhoff, one of the only 3 hitters so far today for North Platte. Again, half-betting breaks are brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group on the one-way, 621 South Dewey. Sweet B, a little half-hearted swing by Ty Hanneborg, gloved up by the second baseman Carter Lawrence, and he gets there to first in time. So Hanneborg really wasn't expecting to get that bat onto the ball, and because of that, kind of hesitated a little bit and will get thrown out trying to run to first. And now here comes Jackson Peters up to bat. Actually, correct. Okay, now we're in some shenanigans here. Now we're in some shenanigans because Easton Geisler should be up to bat, but it doesn't matter any which way as Jackson Peters gets to first. And now we're going to have to say something because who's the next batter up? It should have been Easton Geisler. Now now we're in some trouble as out comes Jacoby Silos. And now we're out of lineup. And I think, yep, Kearney might call time here. Someone's going to need to call time because we're hitting out of order here as Jackson Peters, and now there's that call. And now here should come Kearney's coach. And now we're going to see probably the out of Jackson Peters because Jacoby Silos should have been hitting next instead of Peters, and now Coach Holm obviously upset about that mistake. Pretty simple procedure is that's probably going to eliminate that hit and be the second out of this inning as Jacoby Silo should have been up to bat before Peters as Jackson Peters is now at first. And now Coach Holm digging into the team, which don't blame him because it's pretty standard procedure they've done for quite a long time now as the umpires having a conversation. If they do come to the conclusion that they hit out of order, yep, and they are going to call out. And now Jackson Peters will wander back to the to the batter's box to try again after he got that hit in the previous at-bat. So now there's 2 outs here with Easton Geisler. Well, was Jacoby Silos, who was supposed to be hitting before Peters, but after that, now Geisler being interfered or checked out for Jacoby Silos. Now has Jackson Peters back up to bat. He hit into right field in his last plate appearance, which was 2 seconds ago, and now we'll see if he can do it again, but already down in the count 0-2 against Derek Nonhoff. As Nonhoff's next pitch to Peters is foul tipped off. As with this 0-2, Nonhoff getting the sign from Cole Throckmorton, trying to end this inning right here after some more procedural errors for North Platte. But how about back-to-back hits from Jackson Peters to show that first one wasn't a fluke? Gets another hit to make it a definite hit this time, as now here comes Tommy Haggart up to bat. Speedy Jackson Peters at first, and now the question becomes, are we going to see Peters try to steal the second to put a runner in scoring position? Peters being one of, if not North Platte's fastest players. Don't know if Coach will want to again test Throckmorton after the earlier attempt that got Ty Handelborg out, but the first pitch from Nonhoff to Haggard is there for strike number 1. 0-1 the count with 2 outs. As Nonhoff's pitch to Haggard is pushed outside for ball 1. Long hold from Throckmorton. Obviously showing his displeasure with that. As 1-1 the count with 2 outs. Next pitch from Nonhoff. That one's in the dirt. Ball 2. Peters still at first. Not really showing any signs of trying to steal on over to second. As the lefty Nonhoff has a clear look at Peters. Now with his 2-1. Another pitch that's outside as Throckmorton tries to quickly gun it to first. But Peters gets back in plenty of time. As Nonhoff will once again get ready and deliver his 3-1. Oh, my heavens. That one around the ankles, and they call it for strike number 2. And now Coach Holmes having a conversation with Marshall Robinson, yelling from the third base line. Not happy with that call, and Coach Holmes really getting hot and furious after the last couple of events. That one slowly dribbled on over to the second baseman, Carter Lawrence. Throw to first. Not in time, as now Haggard not happy with that. Coach Holmes not happy, and that's how this half inning will come to an end. A lot of mistakes once again on the side of Great Plains Health, and with that we go to the top of the 6th inning. North Platte currently trailing Misco Sports Kearney 4-1. We come back to Billwood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. It's the top of the 6th inning, still a 4-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney over Great Plains Health. Post 163 is home plate umpire Marshall Robinson takes another baseball to the forearm, as that one was in the dirt from Jacoby Silos. Carter Lawrence up to bat, sacrifice bunted a run home in his last plate appearance with the bases loaded. The top of the 3rd, and then reached on an error in his first plate appearance, now against Jacoby Silos for the first time today. And currently now to 1-1 count. Thank you again to our sponsors here for today's game, Hands of Heartland. Hands of Heartland has offered support and services for those with developmental disabilities in Nebraska since 1998, and are bringing those services to the North Platte areas. That's a single on the side of Carter Lawrence, as it just gets right past the glove of Easton Jones on over at third base. And here's Jake Bosshammer, struck out looking in his first at-bat today. And then walked in the first, struck out looking in the second, has a runner at first being Carter Lawrence. The top of the 6th, a pickoff attempt. That's mighty close, but Lawrence gets back in time. 4 runs on 1 hit, no errors for Misco Sports Kearney. 1 run, 3 hits. 4 hits, no errors for North Platte, as Bosshammer missing on the bunt. 0-1 now the count to shortstop Jake Bosshammer. 4-1 lead. Favor of Misco Sports Kearney in the top of the 6th. North Platte running out of opportunities to get runs across. Easton Jones playing in the grass, expecting a bunt from Bosshammer. He lays it down, but bounces it out of play foul for the 2nd strike of this at-bat. Chase Benson, Talon Lewis are on deck and in the hole for Misco Sports Kearney. With nobody out, they're trying to get Carter Lawrence on over to second on a bunt. But so far the count 0-2 to Bosshammer. As Silos with a quick glance at first will try to pick off again Carter Lawrence, but he gets back with good reaction time, and still the count sits at 0-2. Silos, long stare down. His 0-2 pitch. Grounder, that's going to stay fair past the glove of Easton Jones at third, and with that, a single along the third baseline. Nothing else you could have asked for defensively from Easton Jones. Beautifully well done by Jake Bosshammer, and with that, here comes Chase Benz. He's 1 for 3 today, grounded out to Ty Hanneborg in his last plate appearance. Singled into left field in his second, then flew out to Jackson Peters in his first. Has runners at first and second with nobody out in this top of the 6th, being Carter Lawrence at second. Bosshammer at first versus Jacoby Silos, who's on the mound. As the pitch, hard hit into left field for another base hit. And that's going to load the bases for Misco Sports Kearney for the 2nd time today. As Talon Lewis, who's 0 for 3, will check in, seeing if he can find his first hit today. Grounded out in his last plate appearance to Connor Stifler at second base. Struck out looking in his second, then flew out to Caden Johnson in center in his first. Has the bases loaded. Lawrence at third, Bosshammer at second, and Chase Benz at first. As Silos trying to find the first out of this inning, will fire a beautiful fastball into the zone for strike number 1. It's 0-1 the count now. Still with nobody out. Griffin Novacek's on deck. Gunnar DeMilt in the hole for Kearney, leading 4-1. The 0-1 going out towards center field. That might get down, but Caden Johnson says no to that. Gets set. Great throw on over to third. It just won't get there in time, and that's going to be a sacrifice fly out for Talon Lewis, as he will get it far enough into center to score the runner at third. Not only is it out number 1, but now the lead increases 5-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard. This top of the 6th for Griffin Novacek. Grounded out to Landon Greeno in his last plate appearance. Was hit by a pitch in his first and second appearance tonight. Runners at the corners. Chase Benz still at first. Bosshammer at third. A 5-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney. Silos' pitch. There goes the runner on over to second. Great throw and a good cutoff from Ty Hanneborg as he slips. They were expecting a double steal attempt from Jake Bosshammer. That's why Hanneborg cut it off so shortly before it even got to second. So, successful steal for Chase Benz. Now runners at second and third for Kearney with Griffin Novacek up to bat. 0-1 the count, as that's down in the dirt, bouncing away from Dean McIntyre towards the third base side, so no runners will advance off of it. 1-1 the count. Silos at 27 pitches, 23 strikes, only 4 balls for Jacoby Silos, so statistically putting up a good performance so far. As he'll get set, take a quick glance at second and deliver. Off speed, beautifully placed. Got Novacek standing still. And now that's the second strike of this at bat. It's 1-2 the count now. One and two, one out. Silos trying to find the second out of the inning, delivers. Oh, man, absolutely smoked out to right field. It's going, and it's going to be off the wall. Haggard's going to pick it up, and that's going to be not just one, but 2 runs to come across. A stand-up RBI double from Griffin Novacek. As clearing it out in time is going to be called because out comes head coach Ricky Holm to have a conversation with his pitcher, Jacoby Silos. But, man, there was no doubt that could be either off the wall or out of the park. So with that, the lead now increases 7-1 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard here in this top of the 6th inning. Still 1 out on our scoreboard. Ty Hanneborg looks to be, I think, checking in for pitching now. Yep, it will be Ty Hanneborg taking over for Jacoby Silos. As Silos' night will come to an end, and Hanneborg will take over. Seven runs, 4 hits, no errors for Misco Sports Kearney. 1 run, 4 hits, 4 errors for North Platte's offense. As Silos will move on over to second base, and Connor Stifler will move on over to shortstop. Gunnar DeMilt is the man next up for Misco Sports Kearney. Walked in his first appearance, reached on a fielder's choice in his second, and then flew out in his third. As with 1 out, we're going to see a new pitcher for North Platte. 3 runs have already come across this inning for Kearney. Griffin Novacek is in scoring position at second base, as they're threatening to put even more runs across. Thank you to our scoreboard sponsor today, Wicked Fast. If you downloaded the My Phillips 66 app yet, if not, you're missing out on so much savings with Wicked Fast. They're located across from the Do It Center in North Platte, so stop on by, say hello to their friendly staff, grab yourself a snack, and save some money at the pump with Quick Stop. Should I say Wicked Fast? Spoke on that one. Again, 3 runs come across this inning against Jacoby Silos. A big, loud, bases-clearing RBI double from Griffin Novacek as he smashed one off the right field wall. I mean, you just needed a couple more inches up and it would have been out of the park. So now on the mound, Ty Hanneborg takes over for Jacoby Silos this season for Hanneborg in his very limited appearances. 9 2/3 innings so far for Hanneborg. ERA of 5.793 to go along with 5 strikeouts and 6 walks. Facing DeMilt for the first time, who's 0 for 2 today. Novacek in scoring position at second base. As first pitch from Hanneborg is in the dirt for ball number 1. 1-0 the count with 1 out. So Hanneborg take a glance at Griffin Novacek at second. Have that one popped up to the shallow infield and not going to be reachable for either Landon Greeno or Dean McIntyre. And there's the first strike of this at bat as DeMilt fouls it off. Cole Throckmorton is the one on deck for Kearney with Keaton Wemhoff in the hole, leading 7-1. As Hanneborg will, the long stare down to Dean McIntyre to get the sign he likes. Another long stare at second and delivers that pitch. Fastball in the dirt. There's ball number 2. 2-1 the count. With one out, Wynn basically at a standstill now in the outfield. Next pitch, hard hit. Good glove up by Easton Jones. Can he get there to first in time? Yes, and stepping on the bag. Landon Greeno, good ground out. Good glove not only by Easton Jones, but also for Landon Greeno to get repositioned. Step on the first base bag. There's 2 down on the top of the 6th for Cole Throckmorton. 0 for 2 today. Flew out to Landon Greeno in his last appearance. Did walk in his second. And then flew out in his first. As the off-speed from Ty Hanneborg sinks low for ball number 1. Good save for McIntyre to make sure it doesn't go anywhere else. 1-0 the count to the catcher. Keaton Wemhoff on deck with Tristan Engelhardt in the hole for Kearney. That fastball also, though unfortunately nowhere near the zone for ball 2. 2-0 with 2 outs, top of the 6th. 7-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney. North Platte been shut out ever since getting their first run, their one and only run in the bottom of the 1st. They're waving Novacek home following the hit from Cole Throckmorton. Great throw from Haggard, but won't be able to tag out Novacek from Dia McIntyre. Great throw from Haggard to really get it close to home. And with that, though, unfortunately, Throckmorton will wander his way home. Whoa! Marshall Robinson just called Griffin Novacek out. I think I say he didn't touch home plate. Oh my heavens, wow, unbelievable stuff. And now Kearney's coach having a conversation with umpire Marshall Robinson, dirtying up his plate at the same time. So Marshall trying to explain to the Kearney coach what happened, and just like that, this inning comes to an end with some theatrics, and with that, we now go to the bottom of the 6th inning, still a 7-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney. We come back, FM 98.1, AM 14, and live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. Bottom of the 6th inning, can North Platte's offense find a spark? Time is running out, currently trailing 7-1. 7 runs on 5 hits, no errors on the side of Misco Sports offense and defense. 1 run, 3 hits, 4 errors for North Platte as the first pitch from Derek Nonhop to Caden Johnson. Gets away from Cole Throckmorton for ball number 1. Again, our half-inning breaks are brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group at his location, 621 South Dewey, Sweet Pete. As well as our other sports sponsors for today's game. Justin Thompson, Family Agency with American Family Insurance. High grounder on over to the second baseman, Carter Lawrence, but he'll make the throw to first in plenty of time. And there's out number 1 of this inning. So Caden Johnson looks to be ending the day 0 for 3 for Connor Stifler coming up to bat. Again, thank you to Justin Thompson Family Agency with American Family Insurance, one of our sports sponsors for today's game. The ever-changing industry standards, they pride themselves on top-notch customer service no matter what type of insurance you are looking for, as Nonhoff's first pitch to one Connor Stifler there for strike number 1. Stifler now playing shortstop with Ty Handelborg taking over on the mound for Jacoby Silos. As the next pitch from Nonhoff is in the dirt, ball 1. 1-1 with 1 out. Following Stifler, Landon Greeno, then Easton Jones for North Platte. Oh, mamma mia. Next pitch at the ankles there for strike number 2. You can see the look on Coach Holmes' face, as well as Connor Stifler's, not really agreeing with how that last pitch went. Is the 1-2 outside for ball 2. 2-2 the count now. 1 out. As there's a hard hit ball that is foul, just barely down the third base side. So we'll still stay at 2-2 with 1 out. Still a 7-1 lead in our Wicked Fast scoreboard. Favor Amisco Sports Kearney. As the next pitch outside and low. 3-2 with 1 out. Stifler, after a little rough start to this at-bat, now staring down the barrel potentially of a walk as Nonhoff delivers. Down around the knees and not there. Ball 4, and with that, Stifler will meander on over to first base with a walk. Here's Landon Greeno, 1 for 2 today, doubled in his first appearance versus Nonhoff. Struck out swinging, though, in his second. Can he, of course, come up with a big hit here today as first pitch to Greeno outside for ball number 1. 1-0 the count with 1 out. 7-1 lead in our Wicked Fast scoreboard. Stifler at first base. Nicely placed pitch by Nonhoff for strike number 1. 1-1 the count. Stifler not really a steal threat on over at second base, especially with Nonhoff, the lefty, staring right down at him as next pitch from Derek Nonhoff around the knees and in for strike number 2. It's 1-2 the count with 1 out. As Nonhoff trying to find the second out of this inning. Won't be able to find it there. And a quick throw on over to first from Cole Throckmorton to make sure Stifler stays back. 2-2 the count. Still only 1 out here in this bottom of the 6th inning. Easton Jones on deck with Dean McIntyre in the hole. As Nonhoff has one popped up towards the parking lot behind our press box. So we'll stay at 2-2 the count. 2-2 with 1 out. With a runner on over at first being Connor Stifler. Check swing. Oh, my good heavens. That's high around the shoulders and called in by Marshall Robinson. And down goes Landon Greeno looking for out number 2 of this inning. For Easton Jones. Struck out looking in his last appearance. Singled into left in his first. Connor Stifler still stranded on over at first base for North Platte's offense. As the off speed from Nonhoff not into the zone. Ball number 1. 1-0 with 2 outs. Still a runner at first for Great Plains Health. Post 163 now. 1-1 count. Good bounce back from Nonhoff. The lefty looking to go the complete game today. 84 total pitches so far. That's another one in the zone. Just been so efficient. North Platte really been unable to really put a wrench into Nonhoff's performance. That's really only been the first inning when they found that wrench, with the one run to come across after that, been shut out since then, and also really haven't produced any consistent hits. As it's a 2-2 count now to Easton Jones, as he swings and misses. Oh, and they're going to say it's foul, tipped off into the glove of Throckmorton, and that is how this inning comes to an end. And with that, we now go to the top of the 7th inning. 7-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney. We come back, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Paxi Gordon still here. It's a 7-1 lead for Landon Polk, now taking over in left field for Jackson Peters. 7-1 the lead for Misco Sports Kearney. 7 runs, 5 hits, no errors on their side, offensively and defensively, compared to North Platte's 1 run, 3 hits, 4 errors. Top of the 7th inning. Can we get a 1-2-3 inning out of this so that North Platte has an opportunity in the bottom of the 7th to find some magic dust to get back in the game? We'll have to see. Right here is up next, Cole Throckmorton. Misco Sports Kearney 0 for 2 today. Flew out to Landon Greeno in his last plate appearance, walked in his second, then flew out to Dean McIntyre in his first. Our half-inning break is brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group, 621 South Dewey, Sweet Pete. As still on the mound, Ty Hanneborg for North Platte's defense will fire his first pitch into Keaton Wemhoff. Not Throckmorton for ball number 1. As that next pitch will find its way in. Strike number 1, 1-1 the count now. It's still nobody out following Wemhoff. Engelhart, then Carter Lewis, as that one skied up into center field. Plenty of time for Kate Jones to get underneath it, and that's, yeah. For out number 1 is Jackson Peters taking over for Caden Johnson out in center field. As Landon Polk over in left, but one down here in this top of the 7th inning. First pitch into now up to bat. Tristan Engelhart is upstairs for ball 1. Flew out in his last plate appearance, walked, and then struck out looking in his first. Will take a big old swing and a miss on a fastball from Ty Hanneborg. Strike number 1. 1-1 the count with 1 out. Off speed, Hoy Mama. Just above the lettering, but in for strike number 2. 1-2 the count now to Engelhart, as that fastball just outside for ball number 2. 2-2 the count. With nobody on and 1 out in the top of the 7th inning for Misco Sports Kearney's offense. Another fastball this time that will definitely pull Dean McIntyre away from his catching position. There was a pitcher warming up in the bullpen for Kearney, potentially for next inning, as the 3-2. Oh, man, off speed. Just off the mark. Not by a lot. And with that, on over to first goes Engelhardt. Ball 4, and with that, here comes Carter Lawrence. Singled into left field past Easton Jones in his first plate appearance. Put down a beautiful sacrifice bunt in the top of the third inning to score a run, but did reach on an error in his first at-bat after it bounced through the glove of Connor Stifler overthrew Landon Greeno at first. As the first pitch to Lawrence down in the dirt, ball 1. 1-0 the count with 1 out. Runner at first being Engelhardt. Hanneborg's next fastball around the eye line of Carter Lawrence for ball 2. Jake Bosshammer on deck with Chase Bentz in the hole. As there's a quick pickoff from Hanneborg that will force Engelhardt to get back, which he does so successfully. 2-0 the count with 1 out. Next pitch from Hanneborg, again around that eye level for ball 3. So quick 3-ball pitch so far from Hanneborg to Carter Lawrence, trying to get him to ground out here, at least find a pitch into the zone, and finally is able to do so right there. 3-1 the count now. Hanneborg's 3-1 pitch, another great one. Back-to-back good pitches from Hanneborg, finding the zone to make it was 3-0 now to 3-2. As Hanneborg trying to find the second out of this inning. He loads up, fouling off towards the parking lot. It goes for another 3-2 pitch on its way for Ty Hanneborg here. As he'll take his deep breath and once again wind up. Popped up, but that's going to pop behind our press box. So we'll once again stay at 3-2. Back-to-back foul balls from Carter Lawrence. Again, Bosshammer is next up for Misco Sports Kearney with 1 out here in this top of the 7th inning. And then Chase Bentz in the hole. As Ty Hanneborg delivers, there goes the runner. It's down low for ball 4. Doesn't matter either which way. And with that, on over to first goes Carter Lawrence with, even though Engelhardt was stealing his way to second, ball's in the dirt for ball 4. And with that, Engelhardt moves to second, Lawrence to first, and here's Bosshammer singled into left field in his last plate appearance against North Platte's pitching, and we'll see again the new pitcher Ty Hanneborg for the first time today. Runners at second and first, a 7-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney here today. As Hanneborg is 1-0, man's going to bounce off. Unfortunately, a Bosshammer in the elbow, and with that, he's going to make his way on over to first base after getting hit by a pitch. And now the bases are loaded for Chase Bentz, who singled in his last appearance. He has 2 singles today, both of them in the left field. And with 1 out, time will be called as now we're going to have a conversation with Hanneborg on the mound. Infield was making their way in, but was called off, so just have a short little I'd say one-on-one conversation, but Dean McIntyre's there with him. 1 out, top of the 7th. Engelhardt at third, Carter Lawrence at second, then Jake Bosshammer at first. For Kearney, they lead 7-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard. 7 runs on 5 hits, no errors on their side of today's game. 1 run, 3 hits, 4 errors for North Platte. A lot of procedural errors, a lot of simple mistakes that honestly should have and could have been avoided. They just, were the word focused more in today, it feels like. A lot of these were simple mistakes that should not have really come about, in a team of North Platte stature this deep into the season shouldn't be committing. And head coach Holm would probably agree with me when we talked to him here on our Quick Stop postgame show coming up in a little bit. As the first pitch to Chase Benz from one Ty Hanneborg upstairs for ball number 1. Bases loaded on deck. Talon Lewis with Griffin Novacek in the hole for Misco Sports Kearney as Hanneborg's delivery. Another fastball upstairs. Quickly 2-0 the count now. Still one out. This top of the 7th, bases loaded for Kearney. Grounder going to go on over to Landon Greeno to at least get one out. A run will come home, being Engelhardt, but with that limiting the damage as Tristan Engelhardt comes home. And tagging now out, there goes Chase Benz, and here's Talon Lewis, who flew out his last plate appearance to Caden Johnson in center field. He's 0 for 4 today. It's one Talon Lewis. Runners at second and third. Bosshammer at second. Carter Lawrence at third. As the first pitch to Lewis. Stairs for ball number 1. As Hanneborg trying to find the final out of this inning so North Platte can go to their offensive side and see what they can do to come back into this game. As the next pitch upstairs for ball 2, because again, if they want to play tomorrow, they need to come away somehow magically with a victory. That's a hard hit ball. Great diving effort from Connor Stifler, but it just jumps over his glove, and that's a bases clearing RBI single from Lewis. I mean, nothing else you could have asked for from Connor Stifler. Made a fantastic effort to try and get that ball, but unfortunately couldn't fall upon it. And with that, another hit for Kearney, and now 2 more runs come across. 10-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard as Novacek's up to bat. Outfield shifting heavily to the right after Griffin Novacek had a loud bases clearing double off of the fence in his last at-bat versus Jacoby Silos, as the first pitch that Hanneborg throws into Novacek. There for strike number 1. As the next pitch, we'll pull outside, and good effort from Dean McIntyre to get up and get the ball. 1-1 with 2 outs. Here's a runner at first base being Talon Lewis for Kearney, leading now 10-1. Next pitch from Hanneborg, bounces back, finds the zone. 1-2 with 2 outs. As Ty Hanneborg, with a very big deep breath, delivers. Fouled and still going towards the left field side. So we'll once again have a repeat 1-2 at bat for Griffin Novacek, who's ready to rock and roll in the batter's box. Hanneborg on the mound, getting the sign from McIntyre. Trying to get out of this inning, only giving up the 3 runs. That fastball, bouncing up and away from McIntyre. Because of that, Talon Lewis will scamper on over to second on the passed-up ball. There's ball number 2 of this at-bat now to Griffin Novacek. 2-2, a 10-1 lead for Misco Sports Kearney on this cloudy Monday evening. Hanneborg delivers. That one going out past the reach of Connor Stifler into center field. 1 run is going to score, and now the lead ever increases off of the hit from Griffin Novacek. And that looks like it'll be the end of Ty Hanneborg on the mound, as looks like his day comes to an end, and the new pitcher checking in, Mike McFadden, will be new pitcher for North Platte. As Hannibal ends the day, 37 total pitches, 16 strikes, 21 balls. As Mike McFadden checks in to pitch following good hit performance yesterday, getting the start and leading off for North Platte on senior night. Now Mike McFadden will be taking over on the mound for Ty Hanneborg. As he'll get to his warm-up pitches. Timeouts and half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. All right, statistically for Mike McFadden this season on the mound, would you be shocked if I told you he had 0 stats? As this is the first time that Mike McFadden will be pitching for the senior team this season. He couldn't have asked for a more stressful situation against everyone's, I hate to use the word hated team because that's just too mean, but one of the biggest rivals for Great Plains Health American Legion team, the Kearney squad, but getting his first start here against, well, relief effort for North Platte's senior team. 11-1 is the lead for Misco Sports Kearney. 11 runs, 7 hits, no errors. 1 run, 3 hits, 4 errors for North Platte, with Mike McFadden on the mound for the first time this season for the North Platte senior team. 1 runner is on the base pads, being Griffin Novacek, as Gunnar DeMilt is up to bat. DeMilt 0 for 3 today. Now Mike McFadden with an opportunity to find the final out of this inning so that North Platte can go again to the bottom of the 7th and see what they can scrounge together offensively. Here is Gunnar DeMilt. Novacek on over at first base. 2 outs here in this top of the 7th inning. Again, DeMilt 0 for 3 today. Walked in his first plate appearance. Reached on a fielder's choice in his second. Flew out to Easton Jones in his third, and then lastly grounded out in his last plate appearance. It's Mike McFadden's first pitch into DeMilt. Foul tipped off for strike number 1. So 0-1 the count as Mike McFadden is again his lone relief appearance this season, looking to find the final out of this inning. Great Plains South trailing 11-1 as McFadden's 0-1. Drifting out to left field. It's going. It's going to find the gap between Landon Polk as well as Jackson Peters for a base hit. A double for Gunnar DeMilt. Just unfortunately out of the reach of both the defenders. And now with that, 2 runners are aboard at second and third for Kearney. Throckmorton 0 for 2 today. As Gunnar DeMilt at second, Novacek at third. As McFadden's first pitch into Throckmorton is upstairs for ball number 1. 1-0 the count with 2 outs here in this top of the 7th inning. There was a pitcher warming up for for Derek Nonhoff, potentially in the next half inning for Kearney, as Throckmorton will foul one to the netting. Strike number 1. It's 1-1 the count with 2 down. Following Throckmorton, Keaton Wemhoff, then Tristan Engelhart for Misco Sports Kearney. The 1-1. Another pitch that's going to be fouled off by Throckmorton for strike 2. 1-2 the count now with 2 outs. 11-1 the lead for Kearney is Mike McFadden coming in for relief for Ty Hanneborg this inning. Trying to shut the door right here. 1-2. Off speed going out to center field again. Jackson Peters gets there and makes the grab, and that's how this inning will come to an end. The lone relief appearance for Mike McFadden, he gets it out, and with that, we'll now go to the bottom of the 7th inning when we come back here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and of course, video live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, bottom of the 7th inning. New pitcher on the mound for Misco Sports Kearney, going to be Chase Bentz. Will be taking over for Derek Nonhoff, who had a stellar performance today, only giving up the 1 run on 3 hits. That 1 run coming in the bottom of the 1st inning. Dean McIntyre now up to bat for North Platte. 0 for 2 today, flew out to, at the time, Chase Benson center field in his last appearance and grounded out to Jake Bosshammer in his first. Half inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Location 621 South Dewey. Sweet beat. 11-1 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard in favor of Misco Sports Kearney. Ty Hanneborg on deck with Mike McFadden in the hole for North Platte. As first pitch in from Chase Bentz into the zone for strike number 1 to Dean McIntyre. As the 0-1, fastball, hard grounder, gloved up by Bosshammer, and he'll make the easy throw on over to first, and that's how out number 1 will come about for Kearney's defense. As here comes Mike McFadden, and taking over for Ty Hanneborg's spot. Of course, ended the inning, last half inning, in his lone relief spot for Great Plains Health Post 163, and now gets to bat for the lone time today. Had a hit yesterday on senior night. Can he produce another one right here? As first pitch from Bentz is upstairs for ball number 1. 1-0 the count to Mike McFadden, senior. Of course, if you don't know, McFadden coming from Lexington's baseball team. They don't have a senior squad this year. Lexington does, just a juniors. So McFadden decided to take the journey on over to North Platte to come play for the squad. And, well, not seeing too many appearances in the attempts we have seen Mike McFadden. Been relatively successful, and one of those times that you just wish you could see more of Mike McFadden. You hate that he's a senior and he'll be moving on next year to new and better things. As the 2-1 pitch, that's slow around the ankles for ball 3. And now if you're Chase Bentz, you don't want to put Mike McFadden on the base pads. He is a very real steal threat with some speed if he gets out there, as he fouls one off for strike number 2. 3-2 the count now. Jacoby Silos on deck with Jackson Peters in the hole for North Platte. As Bentz, with his 3-2 pitch, winds up. Oh, and it's in there, strike 3, and McFadden also in disbelief. He thought he was going to be waltzing on over to first with the way that he was throwing that bat to the dugout, but unfortunately not going his way, and that's another strikeout for Kearney's pitching staff. First today for Chase Pence. As here's Jacoby Silos up to bat. Hit out of order last time he was up, so it was an automatic out. That's true, he didn't even get to hit. So far today, has that one lofted out to right field. It will fall for a base hit. That might be extra bases for Jacoby Silos. He turns the corner. Good throw on over to second, but it gets away from Jake Bosshammer. That's a stand-up double for the side of Jacoby Silos. So makes up for his error he had earlier on in the ballgame with a big double there. With 2 outs. Big Dom Holmes coming up to bat now with Silos in scoring position at second. Subbing in for Jackson Peters, with on deck being Tommy Haggart. As first pitch from Chase Pence. It's around the ankles for ball number 1. 1-0 the count. Silos in scoring position at second base. On our Wicked Fast scoreboard, it's an 11-1 lead in favor of Misco Sports Kearney. As that fastball, once again, just a little off the mark. 2-0. 2 down, now the count. As the pitch to Holmes is swung on and missed for strike number 1. The throw, quick throw on over to third as that ball gets away from Cole Throckmorton. And the one time that a batter gets to third on a pitch from Throckmorton, it's as it bounces away from him. And he still almost threw out Jacoby Silos. That's just how good of a catcher Cole Throckmorton is. 2-1 now the count. As that one's going to go into center field. An RBI single for Tom Holmes. Look at that. Pinch hitting, and he gets a single and drives a run home. What a single there for Tom Holmes in his real first appearance for Great Plains Health Post 163's senior squad, and comes up with a big hit, an RBI single into center field. His first American Legion seniors hit, and it comes with an RBI as Bence's pitch into Tommy Haggart in the middle of the zone for strike number 1. As here comes Bence's 0-1 to Tommy Haggart. It's upstairs for ball number 1. 1-1 now the count. How about it? Love to see the young guys get in action that haven't seen much time this season. Grounder on over to Carter Lawrence, and he'll hand the ball off to Bosshammer and step on the second base bag. And that is how this game comes to an end. So unfortunately for Great Plains Health Post 163, they won't be playing tomorrow against Hastings as they fall to Misco Sports Kearney on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. 11-2. 11 runs on 8 hits, no errors for Kearney compared to North Platte's 2 runs, 5 hits, 4 errors. One of those hits coming off of one junior league member, Dom Holmes, who gets not only his first hit, but an RBI to boot as well. And that's a happy moment to put on what was a pretty rough game for Great Plains Health Post 163. A lot of things just did not go their way tonight. And to be honest with you, a lot of those mistakes really just came at their own head. It's not like, Kearney outplayed North Platte today's game. Honestly, North Platte just outplayed themselves after what had been a couple of good stretches of baseball where they weren't really beating up on themselves. Tonight, they kind of reverted back to some of the old ways that got them into the position of where they were falling to, some poor records in the CWS tournament and losing some of the games that they probably shouldn't have lost earlier in the season. They lose this one 11-1. And you know what? The guy that'll probably tell you that right off the bat, head coach Ricky Holmes, he's scampering his way up here to have a conversation with me about it, because he'll be the first to attest probably not the greatest game of baseball as teams ever played, as there is head coach Ricky Holm. Coach, unfortunately, won't be seeing you in action tomorrow, and unfortunately, as I stated earlier, not really at the fault of Kearney really outplaying you guys. Just the team, unfortunately, making some really odd, uncharacteristic mistakes that, as you probably will say here, something that should not be made at this point in the season, especially with districts just around the corner.
Yeah, pretty disappointing game all the way around. Couple positives out of it. I thought Jacoby Silos, after a couple weeks off and not pitching, thought he looked good, came in and pounded the zone, and then to be able to get Dom Holmes up there, his first at bat for seniors, and to be able to come up clutch there was big. So a couple positives there, but just overall didn't throw it well enough to win, didn't hit it well enough to win, didn't play defense well enough to win. And we know with a opponent like Kearney that, like I said yesterday, it could make you look silly, and that's what they did to us today.
Yep, so with that, unfortunately, won't be seeing you until Friday, as let's do next time with seeing you Friday at the Kearney tournament. As you talked about, some really positive things. What has it been like, in certain situations like this, seeing the young guys that haven't got much varsity experience get some action, even if it is limited, and even seeing some of them make some big plays. Of course, St. Dom Holmes coming up here getting his first big real senior at look and coming away with not only a single but an RBI single. Is it something encouraging to see, just to see that when they're given that opportunity they can execute, or would you rather prefer them when that time comes for them to rather make that appearance?
Yeah, you want to get those young bucks in and give them an opportunity to succeed in as low of a pressure situation as possible. It's natural that being a young guy and playing up that you're going to have those butterflies. So as much as we could get those butterflies out of the way in games where we're not relying on them to win, so then whether it be this year, next year, in the coming years, hopefully those butterflies have kind of subsided a little bit and they could just kind of go out there and focus on helping the team win.
Yep, and still were a big help, not even just on the field but on the sideline, always being there to lift the team's spirits up, because as we talked about earlier, probably one of the toughest games you've played ever since the CWS tournament. I think this kind of reverts you back to some of those bad times offensively. So what are you really going to do in these next couple of days now that I hate to say, don't have to really worry about Grand Island and Hastings over the next 2 days, getting prepped for that tournament, but more importantly, the big one, districts next week?
So kind of twofold. We'll take tomorrow off and then get back to the drawing board on Wednesday. But also, too, I plan on running them pretty good tonight. Feel like they didn't give enough energy and enough focus during the ball game, so I'm going to go and take it from them here in a couple minutes.
And that's just it. Just sometimes that's what just happens. You hate to have that happen to you against a team like that, but there's always going to be a little bit of a bad game that sprinkles in here and now. How are you going to try, and I think the real question, and that's how we'll transition into here with districts next week, to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Because while we can all say, yes, you would hope during districts everybody's more focused in, you never really know what that game's going to be like. So what in the next, not only just coming days, but really coming week, are you going to do to make sure that when that time comes for districts, you're not having to sit here and worry, is this team going to have the same procedural errors that you saw today that were pretty, young mistakes that at this level should not be happening?
Yeah, just got to reiterate, obviously we got to do what we do well all the time. And today was one of those cases where, Geisler was around 80 pitches in 3 innings, but he probably had to throw an extra 50, 60 pitches when we have errors in our extended innings with 2 outs. But then at the same time, him being a senior and balking a couple times and letting guys get free bases, uncharacteristic of him as a senior. Just had some simple mistakes from kind of some of our upperclassmen today that they expect more from themselves. I expect more from themselves. So hopefully, we can kind of take a look in the mirror here over the next 48 hours before we get on the field, because nobody's going to feel sorry for us. Nobody's going to care what our internal turmoil is, or who's hurt, who's healthy, who came out, who didn't come out. So we'll run them a bit tonight, and then take the day off tomorrow, and then hopefully come back on Wednesday with a little bit more focus and energy as we lead into districts next week.
That's what I'd love to hear. Now, before I let you go, I do want to say a big congratulations, because it's the first time, I think, in my 3 years here we did not have a Britney Spears moment. You kept your hair, I think, the whole season.
Yeah, that Britney Spears moment happened during high school ball. So I had already shaved my head during high school season. So, and my driver's license may or may not be expired because I've been waiting for my hair to grow back. So I'm actually going to get a haircut tomorrow and go to the DMV because I just didn't want to have an egghead in my license for the next 4 years. So, I already had my Britney Spears moment. That was during high school season. I don't know, maybe I'll shave my arms or my legs or something. But but we only got a week or two left. As frustrated as I am with the effort and the focus that we had today, I still have all the confidence in the guys that if we show up and play our game, we could compete versus anybody, and I know they know that too. So going to be hard on them, but not too hard, and hopefully come back on Wednesday and get ready to work.
I'd love to hear. Coach, as always, thank you so
Pax.
much for stopping on by, and I can't wait to see you out in Kearney next week for that fun, as always, but also dreaded Kearney tournament. Well, that'll do it for me here today. North Platte coming up with the loss 11-2, 11 runs on 8 hits, no errors for Misco Sports Kearney. North Platte 2 runs, 5 hits, 4 errors. They unfortunately just, you hate to say, didn't wake up and look like they were ready to play some ball, but with some of the mistakes that they were putting together, not only on the field, but just procedurally, it was very clear and obvious that they were just not really ready for how today's game was going to go, and because of that, they fall 11-2. Don't worry, though, we'll be back in action before you know it. Yep, that's right. We're going to be seeing you guys, guess what, this Friday, Kearney tournament in Kearney. We will be there, as always, to give you all the fun games to that to boot. And then after that, it's district time. I can't believe it. So stay tuned, as always, right here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. North Platte falls 11-2 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. See you all on Friday.